Welcome back to Trans Guy Reacts. My name is Nick. I make videos about women's basketball, collegiate or professional. Don't ignore how I look right now. I look a mess. I need a haircut, and I'm not wearing a shirt, so it is what it is. I always like to do these videos right after a game. It's kind of a recap. So yeah, I'm doing a recap of Atlanta Dream versus Indiana, the New York Liberty versus Connecticut, and I want to talk a little bit about the Las Vegas Aces White House appearance. Before I get into this video, if you are a new fan and you only care about one team or one player, this is not the channel for you. Go ahead and dislike this video, and I won't show up in your feed anymore. I don't want you as a watcher. Please don't watch this. I'm here for women's basketball fans of all types who care about the history and context about women's basketball. So with that, let's get into this video. So the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. That game was pretty fun to watch. This is, by the way, this is a excuse me. This is a preseason game, and I don't know why my voice sounds like this. It's so rough right now. I don't know why, but anyway, it's a preseason game, and they're playing like it's a playoff game. It's kind of wild. The Atlanta Dream started off really strong. You could tell by their vets starting the game. They were dominating against the very young Indiana Fever. It was really good to see Tina Charles back on the floor. She didn't play last year, and the year before she had some kind of, she's just been struggling on teams and kind of a forgotten player. She was at New York for so long of her career, and they were not doing well. So her talents were kind of like diminished, and people didn't really remember her. Kind of got overshadowed by how bad New York was. But she's on a dream. She's on a dream now, and I think she'll be able to get back in the limelight, if you will. I think they said that she had been playing in China before this game. But yeah, vets were dominating in this game against this young Fever team. Ryan Howard had that nasty block against Les Taylor at one point. It was really nice, really nice to look at. I think Coach Christy Sides was doing a better job of managing Caitlin Clark's minutes because she took her out of the game in the first quarter, brought her back in the second. I think they took her out a few more times, gave her rest because that first game, girl was gassed. Like, she had to ask to come out in the third quarter. So, dealing with this, amount of defense every day, every game, she ain't used to that. So she definitely needs breaks, and that's good that they're actually managing her time a little bit better. She played perfectly well this game too. I think she was in double digits, but she struggled from the 3-point line. Grace Berger played really well all game. She was making the right choices, getting good looks. Yeah, Grace is doing fine. Indiana, she went to Indiana, so she's a local, kind of like a local star, if you will. Indiana College, the University of Indiana. I would say at the end of the second quarter, though, it was a little wild for the Fever and Dream. They were just doing some wild shots. They were speeding up the game too much, falling on each other. It was a little too much. Timmy Fagbinley from Fever, she was really good for the team. She was making shots. She was blocking shots. She was doing everything. Fagbinley needs to make the team. I don't know, how many cuts they need to make, but Timmy should not be on the cutting block. She did fantastic. Even Celeste Taylor played okay. She played all right. Speaking of which, Leilani Carrera, I don't know if she even played that game. I didn't see her on the floor. And Erica Wheeler didn't play as well. I think she had sickness or something. At the half, they did get it, like the Fever were down for a lot of that game. And then at the half, they got it to 49-48. So they were 1 point behind. So they were doing pretty good. I do want to call out one of the refs. There were two white bald refs there, but the one with number 23, not the one with the number 32. Very confusing. But the white bald ref number 23, he had some very questionable fouls called against the Fever. Even some of his calls against Dream were, but they were pretty bad against the Fever, and I don't know if they were the right calls. And this is something that I've talked about before. Is just I'm not very keen on the refs. They usually don't make the right calls like half of the time. A lot of questionable calls. I'm really suspicious if they know the rules of the game. A lot of times, like they're coming from different leagues and other types of games that have different rules, and then you go straight into the WNBA and like you have to learn these new rules. It's just a lot. So I'm just not sure. The Fever did get the lead in the third quarter, so it took them a little bit of time, but they did get the lead eventually. And I do want to point out the arena as well. It was about half full. There was 13,000 fans there, which honestly, I'm a little surprised by that number. I feel like it's a little low. I know this is a preseason game, but I kind of expected more people to be there. But there could also be that a lot of those tickets might have been bought by people who were trying to resell them and they couldn't get the price they wanted for the resale. But it just didn't look good to have, like, the whole arena was like full, but it was like half of the seats weren't full. You know what I mean? Like everyone was kind of spread out. It just doesn't look good on camera. Clark, there were many points in the game where you could tell that Clark could not handle the defense. I mean, she's new. This is the whole like rookies, having their transitional periods. She's playing really great. She's doing fine in terms of her transition, but there are things that she cannot handle, which is like playing long periods of time, and so she doesn't have the stamina for that, and handling the defensive pressure, getting double teamed, triple teamed. It's a lot, you could tell. And her entire, like, all of her arms are like red, like you could tell she's working, she under pressure. And I imagine she'll get better with time. She just needs to get in shape, essentially, and get used to playing defense, because she didn't have to do that in Iowa. And then I would say Boston played okay, but she did kind of struggle this evening. The Dream did have a foul that they challenged. It was on Nia Coffey against Timmy Fagbenle, and I agree that it looked super clean, so I'm glad they called the challenge, and the refs did agree, and they erased it, and the Dream got to keep their challenge. So that's the new rule. If you win your first challenge, you get to keep it and be able to challenge again. In the fourth, there was another foul that was against Clark, and to me, again, it did look clean, and the Dream did challenge it, but the refs did not agree, and they affirmed that it was a foul. I don't think it was a foul. It looked like she got stripped, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. At the end of that, there was some more messy playing, I would say, in the fourth quarter. People were falling and stuff, and you don't really want to see that, especially in preseason. But even Katie Lou Samuelson had to come out of the game at one point, so a little concerning. But the Fever were able to hold on, and they did win the game, 80-83. So they were able to win by 3 points, and I think they lost that first preseason game by 3 points. So again, just like last year, very close games, like very, very close games, but are they going to be able to close them out is the question. And it looks like, today they did, but it doesn't count because it's a preseason game. It doesn't count in the record, but good to see them playing. This is really more about cuts. That's the whole point of really the preseason, is like seeing who's going to get cut. So that was the Fever in the Dream game. Moving on to the New York Liberty and the Connecticut Sun game. That game was being streamed on YouTube, and after, I would say, 3 or 4 minutes, it got cut off. YouTube wouldn't allow it. It said it was violating some policy that it had, which was pretty disappointing. And then they were able to get it back up again a couple minutes later, and then it got hit again with a policy violation. So I'm not really sure what happened there. What I'm assuming is that YouTube is restricting the game. It wasn't like the WNBA was restricting it. I think they had permission to stream it, but the YouTube.com thought it was an illegal stream. So that's something that the Connecticut Sun's media people need to figure out. They probably just need to get in contact with YouTube and make sure that they're on an approved list of people who are allowed to stream the games. So that's just something they need to work out on the back end. I did kind of like follow the game by watching the play-by-play on the website. And I will say Jalen Sherrod is making a case. She did not get drafted this year. She went undrafted, but she is on a training camp with New York. And she is the reason why they won that game. So they won. I forgot what the score was, but they won by a couple of points, only a few points. And that's because Jalen had the last layup, and then a couple seconds later got fouled, and then that layup made them up, I believe, by 1 point. And then got fouled, and then hit her 2 free throws and sealed the deal, and they won the game. So, and she played pretty well the last time they played, even though they were terrible and got blown out. She still played really well. So I think she's making a very good case to not get cut. So really happy. I love to see someone who gets undrafted and then makes it into the W. It's a wonderful story. Um, that's Erica Wheeler's story. You know, that's Becky Hammond's story. So it's good to see. The last thing I want to talk about is the Las Vegas Aces went to the White House because they won the championship last year. So you get to go to the White House when you win the championship. This is their second time there. Things to note is I love that Becky Hammond, the coach, Becky Hammond, didn't dress up. Looked like she had on a really nice hoodie. So she's just keeping it real because that's pretty much what she wears all the time. She always wears like this black jacket with some kind of hoodie underneath, like a hoodie shirt or something like that. It looked like a really fancy hoodie, but still, it's like she does not dress up anywhere. I love that. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and team president Nikki Fargas came in together. Kamala spoke first, and it was a really good speech, acknowledging like the accomplishments on the court and off the court of the Las Vegas Aces. Joe Biden spoke second. He had some jokes. He was pretty funny. I was like, "Oh, Joe's keeping it young, keeping it hip." And he also acknowledged Candace Parker's career and her contributions to the team, even though she wasn't there. So that was kind of nice. And he had a really great quote, even though I don't really care about politics or Democrats or Republicans, but he did say, he was like, "We make history, we don't erase history." And I fuck with that quote. That's a great quote because it does kind of, it's true. Like if you're a conservative, you're very interested, a conservative politician, you're very interested in erasing history. So it's just a fact. Nikki Fargas spoke third, and she was speaking on the history not only in the women's game but also in politics, women in politics, and so that was really cool. She was like, "We are not a fad. Women's sports isn't a fad. Women in politics isn't a fad." And really, all around, all three speeches were very, very good. And then they ended with Chelsea Gray and Asia Wilson presenting Kamala Harris and Joe Biden with their own team jerseys. So pretty straightforward. It was only about 20 minutes long, real short, but got to the meat of it. Said some really great things. Take some pictures. Deuces. So yeah, that was the today's itinerary or events. So pretty entertaining preseason game and pretty cool to see the Las Vegas Aces at the White House. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I do not have my comments on. I don't care what you have to say. I do this out of the love of my heart. I just love women's basketball. I love talking about it and sharing my opinions. And if you rock with it, you rock with it. And if you don't, kick rocks, baby. See you in the next one.